Tyreek Hill.
Oh,
Ooh,
Lord.
I got to hear this.
Noah Lyles is fast as hell, but he don't have the best start. So you think if it was a 60, Tyreek had a chance?
I think when they talked recently, I think Tyreek Hill ended up changing it to a 40 or something like that, I
They
think.
keep trying to take that down.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the OGs podcast. We're going to start this one off a little bit different, UD.
That's cool.
We're going to thank y'all, all of our fans. Our last episode.
Man.
It's been a hell of a ride.
Great first season.
Up to 100,000 followers, YouTube subscription.
100K.
Come on, man.
I mean,
might be UD might be one of your best accomplishments ever to have a co-host like me and get 100,000 followers.
Killer, we all know this was all your idea. I'm just along for the
heavy
ride.
lifting.
I thank you. I appreciate being your co-host. You my guy. Hey, listen, I've always been your wingman, even back to Gainesville. I always been your wingman.
And listen, UD, we can't wait for season 2.
Oh,
it's gonna be dope.
Bigger and better, dog.
We're gonna get bigger and better.
Better guests.
We didn't even know what we were doing when we started this thing, but now we see the direction.
Ooh, y'all should have never let us get our feet wet.
And we can't thank y'all enough, man.
Y'all should have never let us get our feet wet and get comfortable.
Man, listen.
We appreciate y'all though, man. And shout out to the podcast world because there's so many athletes doing podcasts, man. So we ain't trying to be better than nobody, man. It's all love, but we just gonna be better next season.
For sure. And we're gonna be back. So listen, don't miss us too much. We're gonna be back in late October.
Mm-hmm.
The basketball season will be ready to get in full swing.
We're going to have a lot to talk about.
It's going to be dope.
We have a lot to talk about.
We're going to have a lot to talk about, my brother.
Yes.
But before we do that, let's just give them a little taste, man. Like, what do you think NBA offseason, Miami Heat, where are we at, my brother?
I mean,
I
ain't going to say the Heat. I'm going to say us. Us.
Yeah,
we healthy.
Okay.
First and foremost, health is wealth. You know what I'm saying? You can't do nothing without health and without being a healthy team. So, first and foremost, we're healthy right now. Duncan is healthy. Tyler is healthy. Who else? Jimmy is healthy. Terry is healthy. So we got our guys back. And then we got some young talent. Jaime is back, you know what I'm saying, expecting him to be better this year. Haywood Highsmith is, somebody who's going to fill a bigger void this year now that we lost Caleb. We understand, what's expected of Bam, to be our leader on both ends of the basketball court. And then we got Kenosha, baby. You know what time it is.
Hey.
You already know what time it is, man. So, I'm looking for the Heat to be right back in the playoffs. And once again, they counting us out. But, we ain't worried about that. We just got work to do. We're going to chip away at it every day.
I'm gonna tap in one more time because we heard the Miami Heat, new look Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Obviously, Boston Celtics champions.
Yes.
Your favorite team in America.
Let me say something.
The Knicks, Orlando. What are we talking about?
Let me say something to this though, and because recently you say that's my favorite team in the world, the Boston Celtics, but I'm gonna tell you how real I am. Recently there was a poll that came out on the top 10, the top coaches in the NBA, and they had Joe Mazzulla number 11. It ain't 10 coaches in that league better than Joe Mazzulla. So you can say that that's my favorite team and all that. And I got my thing with Boston, but I'm real now. I'm real. It ain't 10 coaches in the league that's better than Joe Mazzulla. I disagree with that.
Let me help you out real quick because the stuff you said with Miami is the tension inside of the war of 7-game series, and the fact that they're great and Miami was great in the match. You're always gonna keep it real now.
Yeah. So sure. I think that's that. I don't see 10 coaches on there better than Joe Mazzulla, and I ain't picking and choosing who come out of that. But I know Joe Mazzulla definitely should be in the top 8 at least.
The 10 coaches ahead of him better have championships. I'll tell you that much.
See, I ain't getting into that, Killer. I'm just saying.
Shit.
All of them don't.
That's what you coach for.
All of them don't. But once again, I ain't picking and choosing who should come out. But I'm just saying, ain't 10 coaches in this league better than Joe Mazzulla. So regardless of the rivalry between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics, real is real.
UD, what the man say? You play to win the game.
The man has done his job and then some. So you got to give him credit where credit's due, dog.
So talk to me though. You out into Boston, which I appreciate. New York Knicks. Boston Celtics,
Impressive.
Philadelphia 76ers,
Impressive.
Orlando.
Impressive.
All
Impressive.
made good moves in the offseason. What can we expect in the East?
I mean, I love the fact that New York brought in Mikal Bridges. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's one of those guys that plays every night. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to cry for shots. He's not going to cry for his role, but he's going to impact winning. You know what I'm saying? So you put him on the court with a guy like Josh Hart. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure that they're not, guarding every, guy on the court. They can take any matchup. They can switch 1 through 5 a lot of times. They rebound their ass off. They knocking down open shots. Josh Hart is getting better with his shot, the way he's shooting the basketball. So I love what New York's doing. Also, you get Julius Randle back. I think with New York, they're just going to have to understand, what the chemistry is going to be like. They got to figure that out. The rotations and, playing together and just feeling good out there on the basketball court. You know how that goes, the mental part of it. But, I love those moves that they made. You know what I'm saying? I think losing Hartenstein might hurt. He was tough. He got to it. You know what I'm saying? He was tough. Mm-hmm. As far as Philly, man, I love Paul George, man. Philly was, I think, 20-something in the league on catch and shoot threes. Paul George shoot the clip, catch and shoot 42%. So he definitely can help that team. I see him coming off a pick and roll with Joel Embiid and then throwing it back to Tyrese Maxey. You come off a pick and roll with Joel Embiid, you let Paul George get to that pull-up, that's money. If you don't, he can either flare and throw it back to the big fella, or the big fella can roll to the basket. You can have Tyrese Maxey pulling around. You throw it back to Tyrese Maxey. Who's closing out on him? If you close out, he going by you. If you don't close out, he's shooting the ball. So I see the moves that Philly has made, and offensively, I'm encouraged, but defensively, I don't know. Once again, I think Joel Embiid has habits that he needs to figure out. You know what I'm saying? Is he the greatest player in the NBA? It's a question. But if he had the good habits that I think he should have, or if he had better habits, it wouldn't be a question who's the best player in the NBA, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. No, the East is going to be fun.
Yeah, because
you got a couple of young teams that are going to get better.
Because the playoffs,
some pieces.
The playoffs has a way of revealing what's really inside you. And in a 7-game series, if you got bad habits, it's going to show. If you out of shape, it's going to show. All that's going to show in the playoffs. You can't hide that.
All that being said, early predictions, East.
I mean, you got to go with the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat, in my opinion, a healthy Miami Heat, because in the last 4 to 6 years, it's been a healthy Miami Heat and a healthy Boston Celtics team. Milwaukee got in there, and they got one shout out to them, but it's been between us. If we healthy, I like us against anybody in the East, man, and I'm going to just keep saying that. But you got to give credit where credit due. Boston took care of business. They won the games they supposed to win, but also look out for Indiana. Also look out for Indiana. I don't think what they did last year was a fluke. And once again, when we talked to JJ, that whole series in Boston could have went differently if they win game 1 in Boston. We don't know how that series goes.
West.
Whew. That's interesting, because I love Denver. I love Joker. Wasn't very much going on in the offseason for them. So you don't know how that's going to go, because, you would hope that they would get better. You would hope that they would fill a couple voids. But they're well coached. They got a veteran group of guys, and they got championship heart in that locker room. You know what I'm saying? And their leader is a you know what I'm saying? Their leader is a so you can never count Denver out. Never in a million years. I would hope that Sacramento will be better this year, because everybody expected them to have a better year last year because of the way they played 2 years ago, and it just didn't happen. De'Aaron Fox, some injuries there. But taking in DeMar DeRozan, I would hope that would help them, that they would get better. Minnesota is definitely, they are who they are. Ant-Man is a dog. He's a monster. I think he's figured out a way to, for his personality to translate, throughout those guys in that locker room, and his belief, and that the way he believes and the way he carries himself. I think that kind of leadership, if you can get 14, 15 guys to feel the way you feel and believe the way you believe, and I think he's gotten those guys to do that. Do they have enough? I don't know. We have to see with that. But I think they have a hell of a leader. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Memphis, to me, that's the biggest question mark, and it's not because they can't do it. It's because now they got all the pieces back. There's no excuses.
Yeah, essentially had one of the biggest off seasons, because guys are just healthy.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
acquisitions, they're bringing people in, but they're healthy.
Exactly.
And Zach Edey,
Bane's gonna be healthy.
12's back.
Bane's healthy. Ja's coming back. You know what I'm saying? They got Zach Edey. You know what I mean? The little light skin, quick off his feet, hop 4 or 5 times in 2 seconds. He's back. You know what I'm saying? I forget his name. No disrespect, young fella. Brandon Clark. I love your game too. There ain't no disrespect. Brandon Clark's back. I like what he does for them. So Memphis is a big question mark, but it's not because we don't know what they got. We know what they got. It's just like, now, okay, we got to put it back together again, and there's no excuses. You know what I mean? Clay with the Mavs.
Let me tell you something.
Whew. What about that, Killer? Let me ask you about that. Clay with the Mavs. What you got to say about that?
No. The Clay with the Mavs is one of the most interesting storylines coming into it because he's had such an unbelievable career playing a certain style with the Golden State, the way they play and how he was so valuable in that,
yes.
right? Does that translate now into Dallas? Because Luka and Kyrie are different than the system.
The ball
in Golden State.
In Golden State, the ball finds energy. And in Dallas, that's just not the case. You know what I mean? You have
that
two guys.
Can be awesome.
Yeah, you got two guys that dominates the ball, but they have to be accountable and make the right plays at the right time. You know what I'm saying? So, to whom much is given, much is required. They got the keys to the car. They're going to dominate the basketball, but they got to make plays and get other guys involved. So I think they understand that. And when you got a Klay Thompson, you cannot ignore Klay Thompson. You can't. He just demands that kind of.
I guess what we're trying to say is there going to be a lot to talk about in season 2 about.
There's going to be a lot to talk about. Oh, I can't wait, baby. I can't wait.
And in late October, when we come back, there's going to be some fire. NFL, NBA.
Yeah.
It's going to be fire. So season 2, we can't wait.
And the Heat going to be at the top of the East.
That's right. I like it.
Yeah.
And we're going to have giveaways. So make sure you follow us on social. Tap in. And I see all these comments. They want the OGs uncensored. You can do that on the Patreon, brother.
Hey, Killer.
Tap in now.
I'm always uncensored. Y'all had to censor me. I'm always uncensored. Y'all had to censor me. That's what happened. Y'all want the OGs uncensored. Trust me, that's how we live. We live our life uncensored.
Let me tell you something. We have no problem being uncensored, my brother.
I'm telling you, I don't know nobody tell me what to do.
Hey, season 2 about to be fire, man. Tune in. We're so thankful for all of our fans for season 1.
Yes,
We've done more than we expected, and it's all because of you guys. We're going to keep coming with fire stories, fire guests, and UD's a legend.
Hey,
and I just tag along.
This guy is crazy, man. I just want y'all to know none of this would have been possible without Mike Miller calling me and saying, let's do a podcast. And that's my dog.
I want to call it Salt and Pepper.
And we was about to call it Ebony and Ivory if we would listen to our wives. They'd have people laughing at our asses. No, that had never tuned in. Would have been the biggest joke in the podcast world. Ebony and Ivory. That's some crazy right there. But listen.
But guess what it's called? It's
OGs. Hey, listen, and people at home. One more thing. If y'all got any guests y'all want to see on the show, man, instead of all the fan questions, sometimes tell us who y'all want to see on the show so we can make that happen. Appreciate y'all. Love.
Love y'all, man. OGs out.
We
UD.
out.
Season 2 coming.
Yo, what time is it? Game time. Yo, what's up, people? You know what time it is. Football is finally here, which means endless NFL games these next few months, and there's no better place to get tickets than Game Time. They make all your tickets fast and easy. Me, myself, I'm already looking forward to going to the game again. Checking out my Dolphins. Fans up, baby. Game Time picks filters through all the fluff. Only thing you got to worry about is incredible deals, great seats. You don't have to waste no time searching through thousands of bad tickets. Me, personally, I'm extremely impressed with how Game Time Picks selects the deals for you without having to waste any time digging around. The curation makes it easier to save more on the football games and any event you want to go to. Take all the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code OGs for $20 off your first purchase. That's code OGs for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today, and just remember what time I said it was. It's still game time, baby. Welcome back to the OGs podcast, and today we have a very, 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 very special guest. I am honored. It is a pleasure. 2-time world champion gold medalist, 1-time Olympic gold medalist. Yes, Killer, we ain't got none of them. And the first female that we've had on the OG show. Twanisha Terry, representing the 305 as well, Killer. I'm just going to put that out there.
Always got to represent the 305.
Yes. So, for me, I don't get too starstruck. I don't get fan crazy, but I'm a fan. And my wife don't never come to the podcast, but she came today. So we fans of you. We are fans of you. This is a big deal for us. So thank you for coming. I know you got a lot going on, but I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
And TT, we got a lot in common.
What's that?
You ran, what'd you say, 10.82?
Yeah.
I was known for speed, too. I ran a 9.87 in the NBA Combine.
Oh.
The man is lying. Okay, this is what we ain't going to do. We ain't going to start the podcast with that, Killer. Excuse my language. That's what we ain't going to do.
I'm fast, too.
So,
okay.
Question. I know we gonna backtrack, but we gonna start here because I need to know.
Okay.
USC. That's a long way from the crib. Like back in my day, now I say back in my day because I'm old as hell. I looked at your paperwork and I see you were born in '99, and I damn near passed that.
You are old.
Man, God, you older than me though. But listen, okay. I see. But how things have changed because when I was growing up, you didn't leave Miami and go all the way to the West Coast.
So USC. Okay, I went to Miami Northwestern, ran track for Miami Northwestern.
We gonna get there because my daddy a bull. Y'all some prideful people.
We had, when it come to track at Miami Northwestern, we had coaches that can coach the shot, that coach the throws, the jumps, the hurdles, the head coach, and the sprints coach. So the hurdle coach, Coach Tiki Phillips, she went to UCF when Coach Carroll was there. Coach Carroll was the head coach at USC when I attended USC. Okay. And I used to always say, Coach Carroll this, Coach Carroll that, Coach Carroll this, Coach Carroll this. I was like, who is this Coach Carroll? I want to meet this Coach Carroll. We go down to the University of Florida for Florida Relays, and Coach Carroll is there. So when I first see Coach Carroll, you know, she's in her zone because she's coaching her girls. They there for business, as we are as well. But, you know, for high school, it's just more on the having fun, more fun. But, you know, college is strictly business. We got to get the job done. So I see her, she walked by me, and Coach Tiki like, hey, this is Coach Carroll. And she kind of like gave me a cold shoulder and like kept walking type thing. And then she stopped in her tracks and she was like, what's your times? I was like, oh, at the time it was 11:44 and 23:2. And she was like, oh, my name Coach Carroll, nice to meet you. And she actually shook my hand and everything. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm Twanisha Terry, this and that. And then from that point on, I researched the degrees at USC. At the time I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to school for a criminal justice degree, but USC didn't have a criminal justice program. So I was like, okay, let me find a different route I can go. And I learned you don't need a criminal justice degree to become a police officer. So I was like, well, I'll just go broader in the safer route with communications. So I started looking to USC. They had the #1 school for communications. Kendall Ellis went there, that's from Broward, and she was at St. Thomas at the time.
Okay.
Deanna Hill went there, and I looked up to Deanna Hill at the time. And I was like, okay, some Florida girls out there. And I was already sold by hearing stuff from about Coach Carroll from Coach Tiki. So I was like, once I got to USC, I already knew I was going. My mind was already made up. So when I went on the visit, you know how they do when they got top athletes, they try to like cater to you. I'm like, y'all can stop doing that. I'm coming. Like, y'all don't gotta do all that extra stuff. But when I was at the state meet, at the time I didn't want to say anything until I signed. And it was like, oh, can you just give us a hint? And this and that. And I just randomly said, they was like, what coast? And I just randomly said West. Not thinking California is on the West Coast. So people started sending my video to Coach Carroll, like, hey, do you know this girl, this and that? And from that point on, it's like coaches were scared of Coach Carroll. Like, they didn't want to come and talk to me. They'll go to my, like, Florida Mouse. He'll go to my high school coach, Coach Carmen, like, ask her about me, this and that. I feel like the only person that really stood in the paint was a coach at Nebraska at the time. I forgot his name. He was the first one to call me. As soon as recruiting opened and they was able to talk to me, he's the first one to call me. Everybody else was, like, relaying messages to my coach. And my coach was like, go talk to her. Go tell her what you want. But other than that, it's like everybody was scared of Coach Carroll. And I'm like, it's not even set that I'm going to USC yet. Y'all scared to get y'all stuff out there?
So if you would have told Coach Carroll you like run a 14 something, she would probably kept walking.
She would have kept. She wouldn't even listen to the rest of it.
So she knew what time it was.
She would have. Yes, she wholeheartedly would have kept walking. I would have not blamed her because why would I playing that lady? Why am I playing with that lady time? Top of something, I run a 14 and 100. That's crazy.
It's crazy, killer, because that's what you run. That's crazy.
I've been happy to run a 14, dog.
So the West.
That's the same way. Hey, UD, hold up. That's the same way I looked at you in Florida. I looked at all the academics, law school, stuff like that.
No, listen. So we ain't even gonna talk about him. Before we get into that, you went to school for the academics and to run track.
Yes. He
went for the bag. We just gonna clean that up. We're not even finna put you and him in the same category.
Okay.
And then once I seen he was getting the bag, I had to extort him. And that's between me and him. Like, cut me in or cut it out.
That's exactly how it happened too, TT. You laugh about it. That's how it happened.
So the West. We gonna backtrack because my daddy went to the West, my sister went to the West, my brother went to the West, my uncle went to the West. Y'all are very, 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 very prideful. Almost a little bit obnoxious.
Wholeheartedly.
Like, yeah. I can't explain this, killer.
Wholeheartedly.
It's something maybe like how when, you know, in your school, y'all had the popcorn palace. I'm sure y'all was very arrogant because y'all was the only school in South Dakota with made of corn. So I'm sure y'all was arrogant. But this is the Bulls, this is a very arrogant high school.
Yes,
killer.
very.
Like,
Listen, the TikTok just went viral from a football game I went to. These people talking about Central and New Orleans and all that. We're not worried about no Rockets, no Vikings, no Chiefs. If it ain't a Bud, it ain't.
You see what I'm saying? And listen,
That's exactly what
I'm
they
telling
say.
you, Killer, they are very, very prideful. They make their presence felt, and rightfully so. Now, the history of Northwestern is crazy. Like, I almost went there, but things went differently for me.
It's okay. You had to handle business. You had to handle business. I don't fault you for that. You had to handle business.
So talk about your time at the West, because I had a chance to actually meet you for the first time, and it was I think it was the key to the county.
Yes.
And obviously your coach was there as well, and a lot of girls that represent your high school was there as well. But it's a lot of history that come through Miami Northwestern. I think people understand the football history. Shout out Teddy Bridgewater for what he's doing with them boys. You don't know what time it is. So we understand the football history, but talk about your legendary track coach and the history of that, because, she's a legend.
She's definitely a legend. Coach Carmen, I'm so sorry, I be mixing them up. But Coach Carmen is the current coach still at Miami Northwestern and a dean right now, but at one point she was the teacher. And it's really a full circle moment when it comes to Coach Carmen. We have maintained our relationship beyond high school, and I call her my grandma now. Okay. But my dad went to school when Coach Carmen was a teacher at Miami Northwestern, and he was a handful. She kicked him out the first day of class. She kicked him out and told him, "You going to the teacher next door? I'm gonna get your grade from her or him, and you're not coming to my classroom. So you don't report to me. You report to the teacher next door, and I'll just keep tabs on what you got going and what you doing with your schoolwork." And then one day he said he went to her and told her, "Miss, I got a baby on the way." Damn. And she like, who you done got pregnant? You talking you got a baby on the way. He talking, and you gonna coach it. And she talking, I'm not coaching. And then it comes out, she been coaching me and fell in love with me the moment I stepped on the track to compete for Miami Northwestern. I feel like Northwestern is known for so much, and like you said, the football, but a lot of people don't know the power that we have in track and field. I honestly forgot we have so many state championships and so many consecutive.
Talk your stuff.
Northwestern was so stacked to the point we can win a state meet just out of the field events. We didn't even have to go through with the rest of the meet, and that goes to show how much depth we have, because when it comes to throws, there's only shot put, javelin, discus, and you have long jump, triple jump, high jump. We can win a state meet automatically with just those events. Don't even have to go to the running event. We talking about don't have to go to the 4x1, the hurdles where we had sometimes 4 or 5 women taking up lanes in the hurdles, and there's only 8 lanes on the track. So that just shows how much depth that Miami Northwestern had, and the type of coaching that Coach Carmen has to still be coaching till this day and be going consecutively with winning state titles. And then just being under Coach Carmen. And I feel like Northwestern prepared me for the time that I needed to go to USC, because some high school coach programs, they don't really have but 1 or 2 coaches. We were grateful enough to be able to have a coach that specializes in everything. So Coach Carmen was the head coach, but Coach Ford was the one that did my sprint workouts. Coach Tiki did the hurdles. Coach Shane did the jumps, but Coach Shane associate with us because we need to do plyos, or we need to do this, we need to do that. So all of the coaches were able to help me to become who I am today and to succeed at USC, because once I got to USC, it wasn't really a shock that I had so many different coaches. I had Coach Carroll as a head coach, Coach Watts was an assistant coach, Coach Hayes was an assistant coach, then you had the trainers and you had this person. So I was kind of already used to that and being around so many different people and having to rely on different people in their expertise, because, Coach Carroll is a head coach, but it may be something else that I could talk to Coach Watts about that I may not be able to talk to Coach Carroll about. So when it came to USC, I had Coach Watts, even though he wasn't my coach, I would go to him for nutrition or this and that. So I feel like Northwestern definitely prepared me for that.
Okay. You heard that, Killer?
Hey, TT, listen, yes. I got a real serious question. So the preparation and the training to do what you guys do is amazing, right? We, as a pro athletes, it's always the same as far as the preparation and the work that goes into it. But you do all that work for 10 seconds of action. Mm-hmm. What's your mindset when you go into that? There's a lot of pressure because we have a 7-game series, or we have 48 minutes. So to have 10 seconds to show all your work is hard. So what's your mindset there?
So for me, my mindset is more so just going there and have fun, because I know once I'm having fun, everything else is going to turn out great. If I go in there and I put too much pressure on myself, then everything is going to basically go downhill. And I've kind of been learning that this season, actually, and from last season. So 2022 was my rookie year. I made the World Championship team, was able to be a part of 4x1 that upset Jamaica at the time, which was the fastest on paper. And then it come 2023, and I didn't even make the team individually, but I just made it my rookie year in 2022. So how I fell short and didn't make it in 2023, which was due to some other stuff, obviously. But at the same time, I was like, I wouldn't say I was devastated, but I was like really like, how did this happen? Like, because I went in the 200s and I'm PRing every round in the 200. I'm talking about 23-3, 23-3, 22-1. And I'm like, 22-1? Anybody know before I never ran the 200 correctly or how I was supposed to. So to see myself running PRs every round, and this one I'm talking about, we had 2 rounds in one day. So it's like I ran off a PR and then I went to come back a couple minutes later to run another PR even faster. So the rest of that season, when it came to the 100, it's like I was just going downhill every race, downhill. And I'm like, what is going on? How am I not breaking 10 seconds when I ran 10 consistently in 2022? And then the 200, I'm getting on the track and I'm just having fun with the 200 and everything is going great. I ran the 200, I think 6 times in 2023 and PR'd at least 4 out of the 5 times. But I realized that my approach to the 200 was different than my approach in the 100. So when it came to the 100, I was putting stress on myself or pressure on myself, I would say. But when it came to the 200, nobody's looking for me to do anything in the 200. So I'm just going out there having fun because it's like, however I perform, nobody really going to care because the 200 isn't my expertise. The 100 is. So once it got towards the end of the season, I'm looking around because we realizing that it's mental. I'm like, it's not physical, it's definitely mental because I'm doing the extra 100 meters and I'm PRing. So I'm looking around for a sports psychologist, and I just stumbled upon somebody. I'm just Googling, and then I emailed the guy, and all of a sudden his team got back to me immediately. And it's just so happened to be someone that was a sports psychologist to Kobe and Shaq. And I'm like, I'm gonna just email him. I don't know if he's gonna get back to me. I may not even be in his realm of athletes. You know, we talk about Kobe and Shaq. So then someone from his team emailed me back, and I got so excited and so happy in that moment, even though I wasn't expecting anything to happen in the 2023 season, because I'm like, the season is almost over. We at the end of the season. I had a conversation with him the day before I had to go out and compete, which was the day of pre-meet. And as I'm talking to him, he's listening to the verbiage that I'm using, the way I'm saying things, and he's like, you need to take "yeah, but" out your vocabulary because all you're doing is diminishing your confidence. You're not going into the races confident because in 2023, I made the relay pool for the World Championship, but I didn't make the 100. But I was a discretionary pick for the relay. So I was saying, well, I'm just here for a relay, diminishing the importance of the relay still in my role in the relay. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just here for a relay. You know, I'm not doing this. Yeah, I'm just here for a relay. He's like, get your butt out your vocabulary because you keep looking for the wrong things. And I need you to look for the things that you're doing right. And then he was like, forgive yourself for not making the team because everything you saying to me, you basically still carrying from that day of you not making the team. And I didn't realize that I was carrying that baggage through the whole season. So I kid you not, I approached pre-meet differently. I listened to him, forgave myself for not making the team. And I went out there and I ran 10:83. My PR is 10:82. So I'm like right off of my PR and I'm like, bro, this was in me the whole season. And all of a sudden it just came out the last meet of the season, you know, and I was kind of like, dang, I really waited till the last meet of the season to do this when the whole time it was already in me. Already, I just needed to hear it from somebody else because I was already in conversations with my coach throughout the season, telling him like, Coach, this is how I feel about stuff. And, you know, he's talking to me like, hey, TT, we need to develop our relationship better because this was only my second year with him. And it was my first time having a head male coach. Like I had Coach Ford at Northwestern, but he was the assistant. At Northwestern, Coach Carmen was my head coach. At USC, Coach Carroll was my head coach. So I was always used to just women head coaches. And I wasn't really used to having a male head coach. So a lot of stuff I would just keep to myself or I'll just always try to help everybody else and not really looking out for myself. So I was having conversations with my coach about that. And then it was just a matter of just approaching things differently. So going into this year, 2024, I still kept my sports psychologist, talking to him once a month in the fall and then just about before every meet. So whenever I had a meet, I'll schedule a call with him the night before. And I'll try to do it around before going into pre-meet because pre-meet is what we do, our little ritual the day before we go out and compete. So I'll try to have the conversation with him. So whatever he say, it can stick in pre-meet. I'll do what I need to do in pre-meet, and then I let it marinate overnight, and I bring it to the track on competition day.
That's awesome. The other thing that I think is fascinating, I love the 4x1. I love the 4x2. Mm-hmm. The anticipation of the handoff or the exchange of the baton. How stressful is that? Because it's stressful for me when I'm walking.
I got to understand because, you know,
because the men's never do it well.
That's what I'm about to say. The goddamn fellas always drop the baton. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell going on.
When it comes to the 4x1, it's not as stressful because we practice so much. We have that trust. We have that confidence. And I just trust that my teammate go do what she need to do. So when I throw my hand back, I'm not searching for the baton. I'm letting her do her job because she gonna see my hand. She gonna put the stick in there. I'm just making sure I keep my hand steady. And my job is to keep my hand steady, and I'm looking on the ground for the zones to make sure we don't run out the zone. But when I take off, I put my hand back so quick that we don't even have to worry about going outside the zone. I think for me, the only thing is about making sure I hit the mark on time. But with me, I say, if I'm not gonna hit, if she hit the mark and I don't take out on time, I'm gonna take out late rather than early. Because I'd rather you run up on me than me leaving you and getting out of the zone too early. Because once I take off, it's gonna be hard to catch me because I'm accelerating. Meanwhile, you gotta hit another gear to try to catch me. So I'd rather just have them run up on me. But for the most part, I just don't watch the race, especially when I'm on second leg, and I wait till the gun go off, then I get in my position, because I feel like if I get in my position too early, now I'm leaning all over the place, I'm nervous, or I'm doing this and that. So I just wait at for that sweet spot when she take off, and I'll look at it a little bit. I'm like, okay, she coming, I gotta get ready. I can't watch the race. If I try to watch the race, I'm gonna miss my mark and what I need to do. And then when it comes to that second leg, I'm just thinking just eat up as many people as you can, get down that track, and just push that baton through the zone.
I'm happy you brought up that relay and that question, Killer, because I've always wondered, like, okay, in the World Championship, if I'm not mistaken, you ran the anchor, right?
Yes, in 2022,
you held off Jackson towards the end, right? You did your thing. So, and then in the Olympics, you ran the second leg, correct? So when you're putting together the order, are you looking at the other team and the other countries and saying, this is how we want to match up, or y'all just match it? Y'all do y'all thing anyway. Like, we don't give a damn how they match up. We gonna get 1, 2, 3. How we gonna do 4, and we gonna do our thing, or do y'all match up with them? Is it a strategy?
Nope.
Again?
We kind of just do our thing anyway. We just go off what we feel is best. The athlete have to be comfortable running the leg that they're running, and we just like, okay, as athletes we'll come together. We like, okay, well, I want to run this leg or that leg, and throughout the season we see each other's strengths, we see each other's weaknesses. So, like, for instance, Sha'Carri, we know she has excellent top-end speed. She's going to hold down fourth leg no matter what. For me, second leg, I showed what I need to do on second leg in 2023, when we ran the World Championships in Budapest, and I ran the way I ran on second leg. So I know I can get down on second leg. But if I had to run any other leg, I know I would be able to run those legs as well. But when picking a relay, I'm not going to say, oh, well, I can run first leg over somebody I know is a great starter. Like, I know my start is okay, but why would I try to go against Melissa Jefferson that can run a stellar curve when I know I can eat up a back stretch? So, we kind of just play off each other's strengths and weaknesses, and then the coach has input in it too and be like, oh, well, I want to test you at this leg, I want to test you at that leg. So we kind of just let the coach do their thing too, but we'll also give our feedback like, well, I feel better here, or I never ran third leg, or I never did this leg. And in those cases, they'll try to do as much preparation with you as they can and see if you can get comfortable in a certain amount of time frame and how you would feel running it. So it's just a matter of communicating amongst the athletes and the coaches. But we kind of just go in with our own mindset, because you don't really know what the other team's going to do, because they can just run one relay one way one day, and then they can come in and change it. But you won't know, because you don't get the slips until like right before you go into the call room or so. So you won't know until they line up on the track.
What's the difference? Because you said it in there. The difference is the curves and the stretches. Is it that much of a different running?
Yeah, some people are great curve runners, and then some people aren't as great on the straightaway, because it may take them time to build up. Like, some people can hit their speed right away. Like, for instance, like a first leg, they out the gun with it. Whereas, like, maybe a second leg, they can build up that speed over time, or like last leg can build up that speed over time. So it's just different strengths and weaknesses, and it all just depends on the athlete. You have some athletes that strictly just run the 100. You have some athletes that mainly just run the 2. So it all just depends, because some athletes actually can run both the straight and the curve, but it's just a matter of strategically placing your athletes and what's their best strength is, as opposed to like knowing that they can do both and just trying to fill the spot if you don't really need to, if you have someone else that can fill that spot.
So in other words, Killer, I could run the first, second leg, or the third, or the fourth, whichever I needed to run.
You can do whatever you want, right?
I'd be able to do them all.
God, you're just a legend.
Let me stop playing. I don't want none of that smoke. I don't want none of that smoke. But I do got a question by some smoke. Tyreek Hill.
Oh,
the man say, I'm just asking, because this is what I'm saying. He said in the 60. Now I watch. Noah Lyles is fast as hell, but he don't have the best start. So you think if it was a 60, Tyreek had a chance?
I don't know what Tyreek's start looked like.
Because when I be watching track,
you can have the best start. He closed.
Yes,
like he don't have the best start, but he closes.
But that's why Tyreek said 60 and not the 100.
Yeah, because he's going to get ran down that 100
That's
for
what
sure.
I'm saying. So
But
that's
the
why I think he said the 60.
I still think it still would be pretty close. Like Noah has ran some great 60s with terrible
fast.
starts.
Oh, the man fast.
So
The man fast,
I don't
yeah.
know. And then I think when they talked recently, I think Tyreek ended up changing it to a 40 or something like that. I think.
They keep trying to
So
take the
I don't
shit down.
care. I
Because
don't
you
know.
the man,
Like
Well, that man at 20.
when the man reached top speed, it's crazy now.
I know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, once he hit top end, it's over with.
Yeah, and listen, let me just say this. I'm a fan, but he be tripping. And it's all
Everybody
good.
have their
I ain't gotta,
moments,
yeah,
yeah.
I ain't gotta listen. I ain't gotta like everything you say, everything you do. I'm still a fan of you, bro. But why he say that if you win a championship that you ain't a world champion? I don't understand that. Like, you can have your opinion on it
I haven't
too.
even fully. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I've heard the conversation around it, but I haven't fully listened to what he said verbatim or any.
He
I
said
just know
champions are what? That's
I
what
know
he said.
he
He
just-
sounds just like that. Champions
Yeah,
are what?
I just know he got the
TT,
NBA riled up.
We don't mean to put you on here because Noah's not on here. We'd love to have that though, but
No, I ain't trying to put him on the
with you.
spot.
No. I'm with you though, UD. He's tripping on some stuff because the best world players come over and play in our league anyway.
Yes.
So there's a
Yes.
conversation that we can have, but
Yes.
this has nothing to do with UTT. But Noah likes to talk about that. The best foreign players, European players are coming over and playing in our league.
Yes,
so
they
it's world championships are world championship. We got 2 of them, UD. Oh, you
Damn
got
right.
3 of them.
I got 3.
I got 2.
Yeah, you can't diminish
I'd
my
fix
goddamn
that.
championship. We won one against San Antonio. Wasn't Mazzulla be on that team?
You sure
Ain't
was,
nothing
Coach.
better came out of
Tony
Spain.
Tony Parker.
Parker. Ain't nothing better came out of French than Tony Parker. Ain't nothing better
Yeah.
came out of Spain than Manu Ginobili. So I'm a goddamn world champion in my eyes.
So TT, I asked you this question before. You're so young and UD so old. You grew up watching him a little bit? Was he?
Yes, of course.
you old enough to see him?
I grew up in Miami, born and raised, so I watched.
305 for life, dog. That's
I
how
watched
we
the
do.
Heat. When y'all went that back to back. I definitely watched that. I had to go out to the parade. We had wore that all white. So I definitely watched him compete.
You watched him too, right?
Yes, of course.
Because you told me a story earlier before the show started, and I ain't like it. But you can tell that story again, please. I don't even understand it.
Yes,
first of all, because you
so
got to elaborate
it
and make it make sense. But
I don't
go ahead,
know.
just
I
run
was-
that by
I
us
was
again.
young.
It made a ton of sense.
I was young. I was watching the Heat. Grew up in Miami. I'm a Heat fan. I watched you. I'm like, okay, that's the OG. He get down. It was Mike Miller. It was Wade, Bosh, Bron. It was all y'all. And I'm like, okay. He was balling. He was going crazy. I'm like, okay, I'm on Instagram. That's when I used to be changing my little Instagram handles here and there. And at one point, I think it was like Future Wife. Then it was Rich Homie Cohen something. And then it was like Mike Miller Wife. And I kept it there for a minute. And then my best friend, my little sister, was like, okay, little Mike Miller. So I used to be watching her compete. And then when I did a podcast, I told her today, I was like, guess who I'm going on the podcast with? And I was like, Mike Miller? And she just bust out laughing. I said, yeah, him and Haslem. She said, now how you got that? Look at your life just full circle. So we just used to be making fun.
TT is smart guest. She's my favorite guest that we've had.
I ain't a hater, but I'm
Favorite
just
guest
saying.
we had, and she's smart.
Yeah,
I was just doing stuff.
Yeah,
I was like-
nah, that's cool. No, that's cool though. Nah. We had our day. We
Hey.
appreciate you. We had our day.
Hey, talk to me about this U.S.-Jamaica rivalry. What is that like?
So the
Or
U.S.
is it a
Jamaica
rivalry?
rivalry, I would say it's more so a rivalry with the fans. When sports bring people together, that's how people build relationships and friendships. But it's nothing too crazy off the track. We support each other off the track. I've watched Shelly growing up, her, Carmelita, Allison, Veronica Campbell-Brown. So, I've always looked up to other runners from other countries as well. And I think when we step on the track, USA versus Jamaica, we just put on a show. And then you have Great Britain coming in now, with Daryl and Dina. So, it's a great rivalry. When you step on the track, you're going to get a show. And when it comes down to the relays and stuff, it's a matter of who's going to come out on top because you have so many great athletes on paper, but it's a matter of are they going to put it together this day or who's going to come on top this day or is this athlete feeling this way or that way? I definitely say I enjoy it. I have fans that's also Jamaicans and they make sure they let me know like, hey, I'm Jamaican, but I love you in USA and stuff like that. So I feel like it's a great rivalry. It's something that's going to always be there. The OGs paved the way. Merlene Audie, Flojo, you had Evelyn Ashford, you had so many great athletes from both the USA and Jamaica that was dominant in their time and was able to pave the way for us to be able to come behind them. And then, you had Jamaica with Shelly Ann and then Elaine and Sharika, and just being able to see what they do and us going from watching them to competing alongside them just to show how dominant Jamaica is when it comes to the sprints and how dominant the USA can be as well. And I feel like it's going to always be a rivalry because there's always younger coming up. Like right now with Jamaica on the younger side, you got Alana Reed, you got the Clayton twins. And on the USA side, you have the younger athletes, myself, Melissa, Sha'Carri, you know, so it's a great time. You know, you have Shanti that's also with USA and so many more other names. I just feel like the rivalry is going to always be there. And as long as it's a healthy rivalry, I think the athletes will always enjoy it. The fans will enjoy it. I think it just more so becomes out of hand sometimes amongst the fans as opposed to the athletes. Like the athletes will congratulate each other off the track, on the track. You know, once we finish, the women are hugging or handshaking. So I feel like it's just a healthy rivalry.
Inside the village, inside the Olympic Village, do you guys speak to one another? Because I'm gonna tell you, in the NBA bubble, I ain't talked to nobody outside the Miami Heat.
So
I didn't. I ain't want to.
So
I had no intentions on talking to nobody else. Yeah, I am, but that's how I created. That's like in my mind, like it's only one of us coming out of here.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how you handle that.
Inside the village is more laid back. Okay. Because in the village, you have this tradition of wanting to trade pins with other countries and seeing how many pins you can get. So every country have these different little pins and for different sports. You just trade amongst and then just seeing like, oh, hey. And then, you know, when it's USA, the other countries want anything from you. They'll take the shirt off your back if they can. Okay. So it's just like a matter of just friendly talk in the village. But once we get to the track, it's like that. Like, we'll probably nod at each other. But once we get in that car room and stuff, it's strictly like, locked in. Some athletes will talk amongst each other. Some won't talk at all until the race is over. Because you know, once you step on the track, your competitors now. Like we can go in friends, but we know everybody want to win. Everybody want to get to that line first. So it's like you get locked in, you do what you need to do, and then once the race over, it's like, okay, hey, like you did what you got the best of me today, but you know, come back later and we have many more opportunities to race against each other. But it's definitely a friendly environment amongst the village. Because like in the village, some athletes are meeting people they never seen before. You know, it's an opportunity to be able to see your idols and stuff like that. And then you also seeing the best of the best that's in your country. So like with USA, I was able to see the NBA players, Bron, Coco, and all of them. Whereas on a regular day basis, I may have not ran into them. But with USA, having all of us stay in the village, and you also able to form relationships and friendships with people, and you learn about the other sports like track. Did a little collaboration with women's rugby, and then women's rugby went on to win a bronze medal, and then like we formed relationships with them that I still talk to some of the athletes from rugby today, and then even we'll have like in the village, USA will have a little athlete house, and then the athletes will come down and watch the different sports, and somebody from that sport may be in there watching. They'll explain like, oh, my teammate's doing this and that, and this is why they're doing that. This is how the competitions go. This is how you get eliminated. So you're kind of just learning about other sports and just getting knowledge about them.
TT, another thing I'm curious about. So Olympics is done. When do you get back into training? Because for us, we look at 4 years, blah, 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 whatever. So when our season was done, I sucked at basketball, so I had to get really back into it again to make sure I could stay in it. Where's your guys' like? What's the transition? What's the training? What's it look like for the next?
So for us, track, we basically compete year round. We start in November, so I'll be back training in November. But it's going to be a longer season in 2025 because World Championship is in September because it's in Tokyo. So I don't know if we're going to start the first week of September or a little later November, because we have to go all the way from November to September for Worlds. Normally Worlds would be done in August, but we start back in November. We kind of just do fall training. And then outside of the Olympics, we have World Championships, which is every 2 years. And then now they're changing something in track and field where they want to have this thing called the Ultimate Challenge, which would be at the end of every season. Instead of ending with the World Championships or like the Olympic Games or the Diamond League Final, instead of ending with the Diamond League Final, I think they'll be ending with the Ultimate Championships. And they're supposed to be paying athletes either $150K if you win or $200 or something like that. Yeah. I haven't read up on it fully. But yeah, so it's like we still have stuff outside of the Olympic season. So most people think we run in the Olympics and then we do nothing for 4 years and then just pop back up and like, I'm back at the Olympics again. We have so much. We have the Diamond League circuit. Yes. Then you have now the Grand Slam League, which is getting introduced to track and field. So it's so much different stuff going on. Then you have Serena Williams' husband putting on a meet this month. Really? On the 26th. It's a one-day meet. I think it's 6 events, maybe 8 women each event. So it's literally just a final. And the winner gets $60K. So you win, you automatically get $60K. And then he has it where the ticket sales and T-shirt sales and stuff, the athletes will get a portion of that, which we don't really see in track and field. Like in track and field, some athletes are on contract, and then some athletes literally are working jobs and coming out to compete too. So, not everybody have that privilege of being able to just go out and compete. Like for me, I don't have that extra stress on where my next check going to come in or how am I going to make ends meet while trying to run. And then when athletes are competing, they also have to pay for their flight. They have to pay for the hotel. So it's so much more that goes into running at the track meets just to go out there and run for 10 seconds, 12 seconds if you're hurdling. So it's just so much more that goes into track and field. And I feel like track and field, we're trending in a good direction right now, but it's definitely so much more outside of the Olympics. And I wish people would tune in outside of the Olympics and not wait just for the Olympics. But, that's also a problem within track and field of gatekeeping our sport kind of, and not really, like, they want you to pay every time to watch a track meet. Whereas when it comes to basketball, if you have ESPN, you can watch basketball. You don't have to worry about going through this hoop or that hoop. I got to get Flow Track. I got to do a subscription to this. Then this meet is on Peacock. So now I got to get a subscription to Peacock. But then today, this meet is on this network. So it's like, it's just so many hoops that you have to go through to try to get access to track and field.
I'm happy you brought that up because, like, because my wife ran track and she's explained some of these things to me. Like, it's difficult for some athletes that run track because if you don't have a sponsorship, if you're not winning, then how are you providing for the training and the traveling and different things like that? So, like, how does track athletes, besides just obviously winning, because winning cures everything, but as a track athlete, like, how you get yourself out there, like your face out there, because obviously you say you run a lot but damn, you can't kill yourself out there running. You got to take your time, but you got to put yourself out there. You got to get your face out there. You got to get the recognition. You got to get all these things going. So that is one thing I do, and that's one of the things I agree with Noah Lyles is, like, track does deserve more recognition for what you guys are able to do and what the women are able to accomplish as well. But it just doesn't work like that financially all the time. So, like, for you, you made a comment. You was like, I ain't got to worry about that. You let me know you all right then. You straight. But everybody ain't. So, like, that grind, like, is it worth it for everybody? Because if you get to the point, if you can't get to the Olympics and you can't run a certain time, you might well just sit your ass down somewhere and get a job.
Yeah, and I think that's what it comes for some athletes. Some athletes, like, I'm not gonna keep putting myself through this. Like, I'm not making no money. Like, I'm not getting anything back. Like, I'm pouring my all into this sport just for me not to get anything. And I even have close friends that experience that, and that's running on maybe a base or something like that. So they running based off bonuses. So they have to perform a certain way, or they have to compete, run certain times or stuff like that in order for them to get certain amount of money. And, I feel like for them, it comes down to, like, do I want to keep pushing myself through this because I'm not getting all of it out of it that I want to? Like, I'm pouring more into it than what I'm getting back. And it's a matter of, some of them have kids, and they have a life, and it's like, I can't keep doing this for so much longer. I have to make a decision. And for some of them, it'd be hard because track is, like, literally all they knew. They went to college, they did track, they came out, they trying to fulfill their dream of being pro. So, it's kind of tough for some athletes.
You superstitious, your hair. Is that true?
Is
that true?
It's
is
not
that a true
superstitious. My fans told me if I show it without my hair, that's like showing it without my spice. So I can't show it without my hair like that.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay. Growing up, 5 siblings, right? Anybody else ran track besides you?
Well, I actually have 2 brothers as well too.
Okay, 2 brothers. So did anybody else run track besides you?
So my sisters, they dabbled in it, but they didn't stick to it.
Yeah, before we get to the fan questions, I got my fan questions, Killer. Goddamn.
I like it.
Yeah, and you started around 9?
Don't yell at me.
Yes, I started at 9 years old.
And just, like, naturally, or what? How did it happen?
So I was walking home from school one day, me, my sisters, and a couple of my family members and some friends, and we started track athletes training because at that time, that was the recreation track was coming out. And we was like, oh, yeah, we going to go over there and try out one day and see what comes out of it. We all went, we all tried out. I went to the Olympics my first year. I think I made it in the 100 and 200, but I didn't make it to the finals. But I made it on the 4x1, and we broke the Benham age group record in the 4x1 that stood for like 2 years, and I just kept going back after that.
Okay. Does your under 20 record still, because you tied for 4th with the under 20 record, right? Does that still stand? Or
no, that might have got broke. Shanti may have broke that, actually, Batman daughter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
If I'm not mistaken. Or one of the athletes from Jamaica. All of them been running sub 11s now, so it might have definitely got broken. So.
Cool. And you a dog lover. I'm a dog lover.
Oh, yeah, I got 2 Frenchies.
You got Frenchies?
Yeah.
So I got a Frenchie, too,
I
named
got
Marlon.
2, Prada and Fendi.
I knew one was named
UD is a Frenchie. You are a Frenchie, UD.
Yeah, you damn right I'm a dog.
Yes,
Damn
Prada
A
and
Frenchie.
Indy.
You're a Frenchie.
No, listen, Marlin is my favorite. So I got 6 dogs. I got five. Well, I got 2 cane corsos.
Oh, I want a King Corso next.
I can help you out with a good cane corso.
I'm gonna name him
breeder.
Goyard.
Goyard. So she naming these after the bags, and these ain't no cheap ass bags at all. Nothing about these bags.
No, they're
is cheap.
not. So when I got Prada, actually, I was gonna buy me a Prada bag. But I'm like, okay, I'm getting a Frenchie. Frenchies ain't cheap.
No,
and I'm
they
like,
not.
it's my birthday gift. So I was like, okay, I'm going to hold off on the bag and I'm going to just get the Frenchie. And I just named him Prada because I was supposed to be going to get me a Prada bag, but I ended up getting him. So that's how his name came about. And I'm like, if I get a girl, and she got to match his fly too. So she got to be Fendi.
So you got a girl and a boy? Mm-hmm. You gonna have puppies.
Eventually,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're gonna have puppies. You can make about 10 grand a puppy.
Yes.
You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gonna give me one for free?
I got you.
Got you.
Man, he'll pay for that shit. Stop.
Killer, chill out, dog. She already listen. Don't do that. We from the crib. It's 305 for life. You might not understand. She got me.
You ain't a bull, you bull.
Now he think he a Northwestern bull. See, this is what you do. This is what you do. He talking shit just like a bull though. So Killer, now you can go to the fan questions. I've got all my questions out. You want to go to the fan questions?
One of the fan questions. How young were you when you started track? I think you just answered that, but
Yeah, 9.
Yeah, I asked that already.
See, you're a fan.
Get them out of there. I am a fan.
All right. What do you think about right before the race?
So right before the race, I'm kind of just repeating affirmations to myself, different affirmations, kind of like just to distract myself on me to just doing deep breathing. So I kind of just tell myself, like, you belong here. You're a great starter. You have excellent top end speed. So basically just telling myself the stuff that I'm good at. You know, you have excellent top end speed. You belong here. Basically so I can go out there and do what I need to do. Sometimes when I get in the blocks, I be thinking push, because I know if I get a good push, I can set myself up good. If I don't get a good push, then I'm set myself to not be in position to accelerate the way I need to once I come out my drive phase. So those kind of just little things that I just keep saying to myself. And then if it's not anything I'm saying, I'm just taking a deep breath to clear my mind.
I want to backtrack a little bit because I don't think we touched on it enough. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't start getting, a therapist until I was about in my late 30s, and that was just on some
Your college roommate was your therapist.
Yeah, you was. You kept me out of trouble, but for the most part, I was. Yeah. But I ain't started getting into therapy until like late in my career, and I was just on like I had lost my father, I lost my stepmother, I lost my mother, like so I was just losses was adding up, you know what I'm saying, and then the baggage adds up, and then when I lost my father, I think all the losses kind of hit me at once. So I got into the therapy part of that, but you got into it early and you very early, so. Like, we got to give you credit for that because a lot of people, self-awareness, to understand that you need that help and to have strength to go out and get that help because everybody don't do that. I ain't, like I said, it took tragedy for me. I went through my whole career playing in the finals, losing nights of sleep, you know what I'm saying, when I could probably just pick up the phone and talk to somebody. In the dark all day. You remember them days, Killer? You wake up and you just stay in the dark all day. And we got a day off and you play like the day before, and the day you wake up, you don't even want to leave your room. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to leave your room. And then you go to practice the next day and you do it all over again. But I'm gonna give you your flowers for that, for like tapping into that early, because that's big.
Sure.
That's big. You know what I'm saying? That's my most highest paid employee. My therapist, I pay him a lot. For sure. He deserve it too.
Send some of this way, because I tell you what, I'm your therapist.
Come on, Killer. all that money you making off these athletes out here, you don't need my change.
Get your ass
You
out
don't
of here.
need that. You don't need my change.
Another question for you. What would be your advice to younger athletes that want to become Olympians? Because I don't think people understand how hard it is to be an Olympian, let alone have a gold medal that you got around your neck right now. So,
Man,
I think this advice is very good for these young kids.
I would say my advice to younger athletes is first off to be realistic with yourself. And I say that because some athletes would say that they want to be Olympians, they want to do this, they want to do that, but their work ethic don't match the goals that they have in mind. So I would definitely say start with being realistic and then write down your goals and set time frames for your goals so you can accomplish it and you can see it every day. You can write that same goal down every day in the morning or at night, or you can do morning and night, just write it down, set a time frame. I need to accomplish it by this, but also do them in small milestones. Don't try to just go for the biggest goal right off rip. Just take your way up to the ranks, and then eventually you accomplish the biggest goal that you have. And then I would definitely say, do your research on your sport, and those that came before you, and understand your sport, like what it takes to do what it is to be the best in your sport, if that's what you want to accomplish or where you want to go. because that's what helped me a lot was writing my goals down and just being able to see them. Like when I went to USC, before track practice even started, I was in summer courses. I couldn't even train yet because I had to get physicals and stuff, but I was already thinking that far ahead. And I was like, within my 4 years at USC, I want to break Angela Williams' school record, which was 11:04. And I was like, I want to break within my 4 years. I broke it my freshman year. I ran 10:99 my freshman year. And I just wrote literally on campus in July. Season didn't start till January, indoor season first at that. And I just wrote down all the goals I want to accomplish. I broke the freshman and school record my freshman year, and then everything else just kept happening after that. So I feel like writing down your goals and stuff will make things be realistic. And as a younger athlete, don't rush your journey and don't compare yourself to others. You know, I feel like nowadays the younger athletes are running so much more faster than what we used to run, which kudos to them. But then later down the line, some of the athletes are getting popped with drug tests because they don't know what they're putting in their body and they're trusting certain people, and it's so unfortunate that their life had to be taken away from them because now they have to face suspensions or they have to do this and that because they're rushing their process. For me, I never lifted weights until I got to college. Like I didn't lift weights at all in high school because I just trusted my coach and trusted the process. And then I would definitely say just have that support system and just have fun with it. Whatever you do, have fun.
I got another one.
Damn, preach.
I got another one. Got to be able to deal with adversity.
Yes.
You got to be able to deal with adversity. So
champions are made depending on how you bounce back.
You had some adversity. You know,
yes.
You had an injury.
In the Olympic year.
Yes, you had an injury and you had to deal with some adversity and you finally made the time or whatever. So explain that. How you dealt with that adversity? Because listen, I get it. There are mental health issues and there are times where you reach out and need help and you got to have somebody step in. Sometimes you just got to get through adversity and figure it out.
Yep.
There's times, those times, two things can be true. One, that you can need help. One, that you can need to talk to your therapist. And another time that you can just need to get through adversity. Talk about how you got through your adversity.
So for me, I started track at the age of 9. I'm 25 now. And obviously as athletes, injuries come with the sport. But for me, I had the privilege of never being injured.
That's crazy.
Throughout my whole career.
Wow.
I'm talking about I never set out.
Wow.
The most I set out for at USC was because I stubbed my toe on concrete. That was the most I set out.
And that hurt.
Yes, and they thought I broke my toe and everything. Like, it was
hurt.
bad. But other than that, I never had to deal with any type of injury. Then come Olympic year, and I get injured. And I'm like, out of all the years of me competing, it would happen in the biggest year of them all, in the Olympic season. But I'm thankful for that injury because it taught me a lot. And it taught me how to advocate for myself. Because for me, I'm more so the person that's always doing for others, always helping others, put others before myself. Like my coach and everybody would tell me, you always point at everybody else's cup and don't never really pour in your cup. Yeah. And I've learned with that injury to advocate for myself more. You know, before I got that injury, I had some little nags that I was dealing with that may have just been piled up from me competing for so long. And I reached out to some doctors and I was like, hey, can we get my leg looked at? Because I'm maintaining it, I'm cool with it, but if we can get it figured out and figure out what it is, I'd rather figure out what it is and we can tailor it differently than what we're doing because I've been maintaining it for years. It's Olympic year, if we can get it figured out, let's do that. So I reached out to them and I'm like, can we get an ultrasound done? Because there's so many things that can be going on. Coach thinking maybe you're just not getting enough blood circulation to the leg, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. So I'm like, can we just do an ultrasound? So the doctor go, well, I'm going to just reach out to some other people and get their advice, and then I'll come back to you. So he come back to me, hey, I heard from the other people, and based off their stuff, I think we should do an MRI. I told him I don't need an MRI. I did an MRI my senior year when I started feeling this stuff. Nothing came up on the MRI. I never injured myself before that MRI. I didn't injure myself after the MRI. An MRI going to be pointless. So I just listened to him, let him do what they do. He ordered MRI. We get the MRI done. Nothing shows up on the MRI. But I'm like, there's something in this leg. I know I'm not tripping because it's one thing if an athlete say they keep feeling something and they point to different spots. I point to the same exact spot every time, so I know what I'm feeling. So I like, okay, I'm gonna just go my own route then. So I reach out to my to Dr. Cooper here in Miami, one of my connections I made through high school. And I'm like, hey, Dr. Cooper, can I come into your place so y'all can do an ultrasound on my leg and tell me what y'all see? So I go in there, Dr. Cooper do an ultrasound on my leg. Lo and behold, they found stuff through the ultrasound. And there's so much fibrotic tissue in my leg that the man was surprised that I haven't pulled my hamstring. He's like, I'm surprised you haven't tore your hamstring off the bone yet because it's so much fibrotic tissue just built up in that leg. So I go ahead, I proceed with a PRP shot in that leg. Cool, taking things slow. That leg is fine, everything's good. Still, that leg was an injury. I'm just taking care of nag. It was a nag. So we get it taken care of. Then maybe like 2 weeks after that, I strained my left hamstring. When I got the PRP in my right one. So I strained the left one. Me and coach, we trying to be optimistic. We thinking maybe it's just a cramp. But the day going on, I still can't really walk on that leg. Like I'm feeling pain as I'm walking on that leg. So one of my athletes go and they like, I don't think that's a cramp. Like I know y'all trying to be optimistic, but I don't think it's a cramp. I think you need to get that checked out. So I reached out to one of my Orlando people. He never responded, ego issues, whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'm just go back my route. I'm going back to Dr. Cooper. I feel like I may have pulled my hamstring or did something. When can you get me in? When can you look at me? He's like, okay, I can get you in Monday or something. But it was a whole week that went by because my doctor in Orlando doing whatever, the ego issues. Yeah. So I had to push him to the side. So I'm like, okay, well, I only have Dr. Cooper, but I have to wait because that's the only availability they have. So a week done passed by. I finally go to Dr. Cooper, and they're like, oh, it's a strain. You done strained it. But I don't think it was that crazy of a strain because they gave me the option on do you want to do PRP or not. So I'm like, just go ahead, get it done because it's an Olympic year. We're in February. Season starts in March. And I've been having the best practices I've had since I've been with Dennis. And we know I was going to be on track to open up with a great opener when it was time for me to compete. So we like, okay, we got to dial back. And we get that done. And then I'm easing back into it. And then one of the days we just pushed too hard in practice. Boom, I'm back down again. I done aggravated it at this point. So my mindset then already, because I've got my sports psychologist, got a therapist, my mindset then is just looking at it at a different perspective. Not being negative about it, nothing. I'm just like, my physical therapist at the time was out there, Jerica, and she's one of the best. I thank her so much. Like I literally call her my lifesaver. And she's out there when I went down. And then lo and behold, it's her last day working with USATF. So she come out there, I done put her to work on her last day. So she look at it, she massages stuff. She's like, oh no, it's nothing too crazy. It's just fatigue. Don't beat yourself up about it. I was like, okay, well, I'm optimistic about it. I'm cool, but go talk to coach and let him know because I don't want him to beat himself up about it. Because then if he beat himself up about it, now I'm finna feel some type of way because he feeling some type of way about it when we don't need that. So go talk to him too. So we both go talk to him. And we like, coach, don't worry about it. Like, he's like, dang, babe, if I would have just gave you a few more seconds to rest. I was like, coach, don't worry about it. Like, it's okay. We live, we learn. We gonna be good. And then going into, like, I ended up running China. I knew I was going to have the fitness. I knew I was going to run slow out there, but it was just a matter of just getting the workout in overseas. So I ran the 2 China's meet, ran like 23. Those times I ran in high school, but I'm still optimistic at the point. I'm like, okay, I'm running injury-free. I'm looking for the good things because I was told stop looking for the negatives. So I'm like, okay, well, I ran injury-free. I'm not hurting. I'm happy with it. The time I could care less about, I knew I was going to run fast because I haven't been training for no 200. I'm cool. So I'm like, the next meet I go in, I'm going to just try to run a little faster. I end up running slower, but I'm like, okay, but look at the conditions here compared to conditions of the other meet. It's cold here, this and that, but I'm cool with it. I know I'll be ready in time. So now the time has come to run 100. I run my first meet, ran 11:37. I'm still looking at, okay, I'm injury-free fully. I'm not feeling no type of nags. I'm okay with it. Next meet, I'll get better, and I just kept shaving down. But now as I'm going into the Olympic trials, normally I go in with at least 6 meets already competed, so I know where I'm at. And my confidence is already there. But this time, I only go in with 2 meets. And it's a time of 11:3 and I think 11:1, which are subpar times for me. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, but just do what you need to do, go through the round. So I ran the first round, ran 11:07. Okay, I'm shaving down from the last time I ran. Second round, 11:04. I barely make it in. But for me, all I need is that one spot. If I could just get in on time or get the last spot in, I'm cool. I think I actually got the last time in going into the finals of trials. And then at this time, I blocked out social media for like 2 weeks, leading up into trials and through trials until I got the job that I needed to do. So I blocked out social media and I'm just sticking with my coach. I ran, I got the last spot in. I'm like, okay, coach, what do I need to do? He's like, okay, Titi, you sleeping in this part of the race. You're not doing this in that part. So I said, okay, coach. Coach Carroll is also there. I maintain a relationship with Coach Carroll still. Yes. Coach Carroll know how to get through to me. So we spent 4 years together. So she know what to say to push certain buttons. So I was like, Coach Carroll, where you at? I need to talk to you right now. Come on. I'm on the table getting work done, trying to get worked out real quick. She comes, she talks to me. You need to do X, Y, Z. Them girls can't do this and do that like you. You just need to fight. So I said, okay. I think my daddy was at trials too. I said, Daddy, be at the 70-meter mark because coach said I'm sleeping right there. And I can hear, if it's anybody's voice I can hear my dad's voice in the crowd. Yes. So I'm like, Daddy, be at 70 because coach said I'm sleeping right there and I need you to be right there so I can hear you. Everybody do their job, do they need to do. I'm in lane 1. I know I'm going to be out there. The race is going to be to the right of me. I'm not really going to feel nobody. Coach Carroll's like, you got to get out on the girls. That's going to be in lane 1 and 2. You got to be ahead of them at the beginning. I do that, and I'm just fighting, just pushing through. But before I even start the race, I looked down that track and I said, run like you on second leg in 2023. Because I know I ran a crazy leg in 2023. So I'm like, if you run like that, you got a shot at making this team. And that's what I did. So I feel like when it came to my injury this year, even though it was an Olympic year, the biggest year of them all, I also looked at the Olympic year as just another year. So I don't put that extra pressure on myself or feel like I had to do anything differently. Yeah. And it was just all a matter of mindset. That was the biggest thing for me this year, was mindset and advocating for myself, because I feel like if I probably never said anything early in the year to get things taken care of, I probably would still be dealing with those same nags right now, because I'm just so used to always just being like, okay, if somebody says something, as long as I trust you and it's nothing too crazy, you're not leading me off track or nothing, I'm gonna just be okay with it. But I have to learn it's okay to say no to people sometimes and step up for yourself. So that was the biggest thing that I learned from that injury. And I feel like that injury also allowed me to make connections with certain people. Like I'm thankful for Melissa and Sha'Carri. You know, it was times where Sha'Carri brought somebody in to work on her, and she's like, hey, I can't use this person today. Do you mind using them? Just because I already paid for it. You don't even got to worry about paying. And one of the individuals that she introduced me to was able to tell me, like, why aren't you doing any rehab, or why aren't you doing this or that for your leg? So it came down to it, like, you know, you get an injury, you got to teach that leg, and I wasn't doing that, but I didn't know because I wasn't told to. And he's doing this drill, and he's like trying to get my leg to fire. So my right leg is firing amazing. But when it came to my left leg, it's like I was forgetting how to fire that leg. So like he's doing like a little tap like this, and my foot's supposed to hit back, and it's like my foot's going slower. But then I was able to maintain that relationship with him, and when he came out to certain meets, he was like, hey, do you want to get a couple time in? And he was just kept doing them firing drills. And I was, from that point forward, when Sha'Carri introduced me to him, to be able to, like, I knew him, but not to that extent. But Sha'Carri introducing me to him allowed me to use him for that whole week without even worrying about having to cover anything or pay for anything, because he's one of the top dudes and he's expensive. You know, so I was definitely grateful to have that opportunity, to be blessed with that opportunity, be able to have people that I can reach out to that was able to get me back to where I need to be. And then having the support circle of Melissa and Sha'Carri, you know, making the Olympic team with them, because some people make the team and it's just them, and it's hard training by yourself. But I had two other girls that I was able to rely on, that, and I was also able to help them. So
okay, that's love. Shout out
well,
Sha'Carri for
TT,
that.
at 25, you sound like an OG already.
Yeah, they tell me I got an old soul. One of my teammates called me Cecilia.
Cecilia.
But we appreciate you coming on here. UD was just named one of the most influential people in Miami. So tap it to him. But you got the key to the city. Let him borrow that every once in a while.
I
Let him walk
got
in the
the
city.
key to the city and the county. I got him, whatever he needs.
She got the keys.
Hey, you got to check in.
No, she the right now.
Listen,
she right now. Look at she got the gold medal on. Like, listen, I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna be in LA in 2028 now.
Okay, I'm gonna be there too.
I know you is.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna
just
see
let
each
you
other.
know. I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be looking for you.
Hey, two legends in Miami, man. We appreciate TT. Thank you so much for coming in. Really do.
You're welcome.
Congratulations on everything. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Huge
I
fan.
appreciate you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And, you know, I'm going to be watching. I'm a fan. I'm going to continue to be a fan. Continue to do your thing. Stay prayed up, man. Blessings to you and your family, man. And just looking for great things from you. You've outdone yourself, and you got so much more to grow and grow. So I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
And you
Thank
did.
you.
If you ain't a bull, you bull.
Here he go.
OG's out.
Listen, man, the first lady we had on the OG podcast, and this is how we going to end the season. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.